Good evening, everybody. Just before I start, can we just thank Monty there for the brilliant piano accompaniment to while you took your seat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, look, welcome to Godalming College. It's lovely to see you here this evening. I hope you didn't have too bad a journey. I appreciate that we can't do much to fix the roads, which essentially are not designed for a high volume of cars. So I appreciate your tolerance if it took you some time to get to see us this evening. But I hope you enjoy your visit now you're here. And I'm just going to talk to you for about 15 minutes as to why Godalming College, and I'm going to make no apology really for the fact that this is a very biased talk, because I think we're the best post-16 provider in the area. But I fully appreciate that you have a lot of choice, which I think is a really good thing. Fortunate in this part of the world to have a lot of post-16 provision, whether that be staying on a school sixth form if students in the room have a school that has a sixth form. There's also other colleges like Godalming in terms of 16 to 19 providers. And then there are big FE colleges that cater for students from kind of 14 right through to almost 90 or beyond, that offer obviously a different type of provision too. And what I would do is just urge you to make sure that you go round and look at as many providers as possible to make sure that you get that choice right and that the place that you choose feels right for you. That's the most important thing. But obviously you're actually currently sat in the best place for you now, and I'm going to tell you why that's the case. So there are, I kind of summarised it for you in 10 reasons, and the first one, you won't be surprised to hear me talk about results. And we're really proud of our results outcomes for students. Year on year, we exceed national benchmarks as far as pass rates and high grade rates are concerned. On the screen there, you can see the A-level comparators. In the blue, they're our results, and the green are the national pass rates. So 99.2% pass rate for us. The national benchmark for that is 97.2, and we beat the high grade rate by almost 10%. So we're really proud of that fact. And it's not something we just achieved in the summer with the students that left us then. It's something we've been achieving for well over a decade as a college. And if you want to drill down and look at each individual course and the high grade and the pass rates for each of the courses that we provide, there are QR codes around this room for you to access those results, and they're also on our website. And we've also got the previous 2 years' worth of results too. But there's just a little bit of a caveat with that, because the previous 2 years' results were influenced by the approach that we took, obviously, during the pandemic. So you're not comparing like with like in terms of those assessments. The students that sat exams this summer were the closest to the assessments that were sat pre-pandemic, which was back in 2019. Also on the screen there are our BTEC result outcomes, both pass rate and high grade rates. We don't have the national benchmarks yet from Pearson, the awarding body. They will be available, so if you want to do that comparison when they are published, please do that. But we're proud of those results. They summarise the results in the 3 A-level equivalent, the 2 A-level equivalent, and the 1 A-level equivalent as far as BTECs are concerned. But it's not just about the raw results. We are also judged in terms of value added. And what does that mean? Well, that means how well a school or college does based on the prior attainment of students at GCSE. So if you add positive value added, that means you help students on average to do better than you expect them to do based on their prior attainment. And we do have positive value added. You can access that through performance tables, and we also subscribe to a number of providers, and all of them indicate that we have positive value added. So we're proud of that too. And we do all of that with relatively comprehensive actually entry requirements. They are as a minimum 5 GCSEs grade 9 to 4. I would say that is a minimum, because the more GCSEs you can get at the higher grades possible, the better foundation for A-level and BTEC study, because it is the biggest step up between GCSE and A-level and BTEC at level 3 in terms of the educational journey. it's not quite as big a step up for students who then go on to higher education. So that, I think, is something we're also proud of, the fact we can achieve those results with not setting really, really high entry requirements for students. However, that said, there are specific entry requirements for certain courses, and again, if you've been around and managed to speak to the departments or are going to do that in a minute, please make sure you understand what courses you might need to get and grades you need to get for certain subjects. You might say, well, she would say all of this, wouldn't she, because she's the principal and, you know, talking about results. Well, we have been Ofsteded under the new Ofsted framework. We were one of the first providers actually to be inspected under the new framework back in December 2019. That framework works on a 5-year cycle, so we expect Ofsted to come and visit us again either this year or next year, but we were awarded outstanding status the last time they visited, and we were outstanding the last time that we were inspected as well. And you can read the report on the website if you so wish. And then point 3, I think this is the real reason behind the success of the college. We have a wonderful team of support and teaching staff working with our students, but we have specialist teachers who are obviously specialists in their subject, but they are also specialists in the specifications that they deliver, the A-level and BTEC specifications, because that's all they have to concentrate on. They have to worry about the Year 7 curriculum, the Year 9 curriculum. They just focus in on this curriculum, and that's all they deliver day in, day out. They're also specialists in the age group, because we only have students aged 16 to 19 here at the college. So again, we're specialists in the age group. So I hope you enjoy meeting our staff and having a chat with them about their subjects. They really love talking to you about their subjects because they're passionate about them. I know it's a kind of dark and rather cold, dreary November evening. I couldn't really control the weather for you, I'm afraid, but it doesn't help us to show off the campus in its best light, but I will show you a little bit of a video shortly so you can get to see what it looks like in the daylight. But we're proud of the facilities that we've got on offer for our students. Again, they are just for use by our students. We don't have to share them with any other age group. And there's some highlights to just point out in terms of those facilities, starting with the Independent Learning Centre, or the ILC for short. That is just out of this main block to the left as I'm looking at it here. And that is where students can go when they're not in lessons to do study. They can access book-based and e-book resources, signposted by our team of librarians there to help them. There's a silent study area, there's access to computers as well. And actually in that ILC tonight is our information centre, so if you've got any more general questions about the college, you can access senior staff there to help you. And I'll say a bit more about some of the staff that are available shortly. Performing arts block, if you haven't been across there yet, we've got our music and drama students performing for you this evening. It's got specialist recording studio, plus practice rooms, drama studio, we've got a dance studio. Over in the sport block, we've got sports hall and a gym that any student can use. They don't have to be studying PE or sport to do that. We've got a green room in the media suite, science labs, and so on and so forth. So we're proud of the facilities, and we've invested a lot of money to make sure that they're fit for purpose to support learning here at Godalming. And the other key facility that I must mention to you, because the students always remind me to make sure that you hear about this particular facility, and that's our catering facility, because when we do student feedback, food is quite a popular discussion choice for the students. And actually we bought the catering in-house as a college about 3 years ago. We used to, prior to that, contract it out, but now the catering team are part of our staffing team. And that means that we can more carefully tailor food to the student demand. And if you want to go and taste some of the food that is available to students, you can do. It's over in the deli area, that's open tonight, and Phil and the team are providing little samples of the food. And the other key factor that the students are always really interested to know in kind of when you're weighing up the different post-16 providers is that Godalming College not only has a Costa, it has a Starbucks as well. And the Starbucks is open tonight too, if you wanted to get yourself a coffee. So that's the facilities in a nutshell. Point 5 is about our enrichment programme. We've put a lot of time and effort into making sure that we've got a really good suite of enrichment courses for students to choose from, because we do expect students to do some form of enrichment alongside their courses. Why do we do that? To help students, when they're then applying for their next step, whatever that may be, stand out and have more things to be able to talk about, things that they've done, skills that they've developed. And so in the first year, students will pick usually from the kind of two main streams. We call them pathways. One is the Plus Active pathway, and underneath that umbrella term sits the sort of enrichment that students are probably used to at school, things like sport, music, drama. So you can carry on with those if you want to, or if you gave them up at school and you want to try them again, that's absolutely fine too. The other main pathway that our lower sixth do, if none of that interests them, is what's called the Plus Explore pathway. And these are a whole range of different short courses. They're 8 weeks in duration. Students can do one of them or two of them in their first year. And they're designed to develop skills, interests, to help students make decisions about possible careers that they're considering. So there's a range of options in that regard. They range from things like introduction to engineering, nursing, law, podcasting. The biology department run dissection club, if that's what you want to have a go at doing. There's some smells that come from the biology department on a Friday morning, I can tell you. And then there is things like forensics, debating, first aid, and if you really want to get better at fitness and running, you can do Run 5K with me on a Friday morning, but you don't have to show any interest in that if you don't want to, I will understand. But the point here is that there are lots of options for students to choose from, and there's a lot more information on the website about the enrichment offer that we provide. And then in the second year, we still expect students to take some form of enrichment. And again, some of those courses, the Plus Active is still available. Some of those Explore courses students could do in their second year. But as well as that, we have a small suite of qualifications on offer for second years. Things like core maths, for example, to support progression perhaps onto a degree course that has quite a high maths content, but the student wasn't studying A-level maths. But the other most popular choice in that suite is the extended project qualification. And this is a brilliant qualification because it enables students to pick an area of research. It might be linked to one or more of their subjects, or something completely different, an area of interest. And you come up with a research question, and you either have to write it up into a 5,000-word report or produce an artifact of some sort and present your findings. And all of those skills really support the dissertation that students have to do at degree level as well. So it's a good foundation for that if students are wanting to go on to higher education. So that's available for students in their second year. And then finally on this slide, last but not least in that respect, is the strong emphasis on learning. Obviously helping the students to learn the content to pass the assessments in the best possible way. But we put a lot of emphasis through our tutorial programme, through department workshops on becoming better at the process of learning, actually, and developing hopefully a bit of a love for learning, because learning is really important. It's an important life skill. And so we help students with the managing of their learning to not be afraid to make mistakes, because as humans we don't like really making mistakes, but that's the best way to learn. And then also helping manage the learning in terms of how to manage time, because I'm not going to hide from the fact that there is a lot of homework at this level as well. There is a lot of work. The content in A-level and BTECs is high, so it's helping students with that process. And then also for us as staff at the college, we constantly are looking at how we can improve and learn and develop as individuals. So for teachers, for example, there's teaching and learning workshops, and they're linked to the latest research on pedagogy. And I always say as well that the moment I think I know absolutely everything and all the answers and I've got nothing left to learn about this job, that's the moment I need to stand down and let somebody else take over, because I think that's very unhealthy. So that culture of learning and reflecting and developing is part of what we do here at college. Next point, hopefully get a sense of this tonight about our community. That's really important, belonging to our community, caring and supportive, and there's a lot of wraparound student support for students. I think that's one of the big anxieties. You know, if you're coming to a bigger college, it's going to be bigger than the school. What support is? Are you just left on your own? Absolutely not. Students have a personal tutor who they're allocated to for the 2 years. So they firstly help them settle into college right through to then supporting them with their progression plans. And incidentally, in the first few weeks, the students meet twice with their tutor, because normally they meet once with their tutor a week. In the first few weeks, they meet twice. That's in order to get to know the tutor, but also to support that transition and progression into the college. The other thing that tutors do, as I said, support their progression, but they're also the first port of call for parents and for carers as well. The other thing to mention is our Learning Support Department. They're available tonight if you wish to speak to them. They're obviously here for students who have learning needs, but also for all students in another source of support with help with learning organisation and making sure that they're there if they need help with note-taking, essay writing, or whatever it may be. So I'd urge you to go and meet the Learning Support Department if you want to. They're up, as I said, in the very top floor of the Independent Learning Centre. We also have a health and wellbeing coordinator, Holly, who's a qualified mental health nurse. There's a team of counsellors available for students, and we also give students the option to sign up to a app which provides 24/7 counselling support should they need that. Another area, point 8, where we've got a great team, careers and progression team on hand to provide careers appointments one-to-one at any point, but they also provide a lot of support for students when they're sort of grappling with their next step, and we start to do that in the first year around March time. That's when students first need to start thinking about their progression plans, and the Careers and Progression Department put on talks for students to work out, you know, do they want to go on to higher education, further education, a gap year, apprenticeship, employment, and all of those options, what do they entail, and helping students with that, and then actually with the applications. The department also has an Aspire programme for those students who are applying to competitive courses, whether that be Oxford or Cambridge, or things like medicine, veterinary, dentistry, that sort of thing. They are there to provide help with the additional elements of that application process. And again, you can go and find out more about our Aspire programme in the ILC if you want to. And then finally, the infographic on the screen is probably the data I'm most proud of, I think, as principal. It's information we get annually from the Higher Education Statistics Agency, and it tells us how well former Godalming College students do when they graduate. So this is for the cohort of students who graduated in 2022, and you can see 90.1% of those students achieved a first or a 2-1 degree, compared, you know, to the sector averages, sixth form to which we belong, independent schools and state sector. That exceeds all of those benchmarks as well. I think that for me is further evidence about the experience and the all-round support students get here at Godalming helps them be successful for their degree if that's what they want to go on and do. So, I did promise you I'd get a little bit of a video so you could see what it feels like in the daylight to be at Godalming College. Here we go. by a former student of ours just a couple of years ago. So I hope that just gives you a bit more of a flavour of what we have on offer for students here at Godalming. And then just the final 2 points from me. Obviously, we've got a wide range of courses for students to choose from, and it's really important that I hope you've already been round and seen some departments, and you've got a bit of time before we draw the evening to a close to see others. But look at and talk to the staff and the students, and think about courses that you're enjoying and that you're good at as possible options, but also look at new courses that perhaps you haven't had access to at school, and you know, do any of those really engage you and interest you, and is that what you want to go on and study? We can put together pretty much any combination of subjects. We're not constrained by subjects being in blocks, and we've got a clever computer algorithm that does that for us, so that we can make study programs individual to that student's needs, interests and abilities. And then finally, I think the last but not least point from me is about the college being a really excellent stepping stone from school. And look, some of you will have school sixth forms, and you don't have to make a change if you don't want to, and you can stay there until you're 18. But at 18, you will have to make a change. And I think if you decide to make a change at 16, you will definitely be more confident when you come to have to make a change at 18. And that really, apart from the vibrancy and just the focus of this type of education environment, is why I've always worked in this sector. I did do my training as a secondary school teacher, but I got the opportunity to do an additional practice in Stoke Sixth Form College, and I loved it, and then was lucky enough to get my first teaching job at Farnborough Sixth Form College, not too far away from here. And then I spent many a happy year there, and then went to Esher College, and then ended up as principal here in 2016. And I'm also the chair of the Sixth Form Colleges Association, because I absolutely passionately believe that this is the best sector for this age group, and it will provide a brilliant stepping stone to the exciting future that you will have ahead of you beyond this college. So I told you it was biased. It is biased, and I've just got very quickly next steps. Why wouldn't you want to make an application? And they are open now. We do have the deadline of the 26th of February, but I would urge you to get it in as soon as possible, because obviously we monitor applications in that regard, and we have started our course advice sessions already. We do all of that online. We do it via Teams, so you would be allocated to what's called one of our course advice sessions once you've applied, and we will discuss and agree a provisional study programme with you. We then leave students alone, obviously to concentrate and focus on GCSEs, and then after they're over, you get invited to one of our 2 taster days to go along to taster lessons in the subjects that you discussed at your course advice session. So look, I hope that was helpful. I wish you all, the students in the room, good luck with your GCSEs, and just thank you again for your interest in Godalming College, and I hope your journey home is a bit better than the journey here. Thank you very much.